What if everything you know, your home, your memories, your identity exists in more than one version? What if, right now, there's another you living a different life in a world just slightly off? Today, we're diving into one of the most mind-bending questions ever asked. What if you entered a parallel universe? Part 1. The Mirror World Hypothesis. Imagine this. You wake up in your own bed, everything looks normal, but something's just off. Your coffee tastes slightly different. Your favorite shirt is gone, replaced by one you swear you never bought. And when you check your phone, your calendar says Wednesday, but you distinctly remember yesterday being Friday. No, you're not losing your mind. You might have slipped into a mirror universe. The idea sounds like pure science fiction, but it has roots in real physics. Some scientists believe that our universe could have a mirror twin, a parallel world that reflects ours almost exactly, but with slight differences. Not just metaphorical reflection, but literal. Mirror matter, mirror atoms, even a mirror you. And here's the twist: this universe might not be far away at all. According to research from Oak Ridge National Lab in Tennessee, it could be just a few millionths of an inch away from us, separated by an invisible barrier thinner than a human hair. What would happen if that barrier broke down? Would your mirror self be waiting on the other side? Let's find out. Before we jump into neutron beams and mirror dimensions, hit that like button or risk waking up in a universe where pizza doesn't exist. And trust us, that's not a timeline you want. Part 2. The science behind it. If a mirror universe really exists, how would we ever find it? Surprisingly, we might already be trying. In 2019, a team of physicists at Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee began an experiment that sounded like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. The goal? To detect evidence of a mirror world using nothing more than neutrons, a few magnetic fields, and a lot of patience. Here's how it works. When you fire a beam of neutrons at a solid wall, none of them should pass through. That's physics 101. But what if a few do and then come back? That might mean they temporarily crossed into a mirror universe, became their mirror counterparts, and then flipped back to our side. Even stranger is what we already know about neutron decay. In open space, a neutron lasts around 14 minutes and 48 seconds before breaking down into a proton, electron, and antineutrino. But in a lab bottle, it decays 10 seconds faster, and no one can fully explain why. That 10-second gap might be a clue that neutrons are doing something unexpected, like disappearing into another realm. This leads us into a wild but real possibility. If mirror matter exists, it could interact with ours through subtle, gravitational or magnetic effects. We wouldn't see it directly, but we might feel its pull. Some scientists even believe that dark matter, which makes up about 85% of the universe's total mass, could be mirror matter leaking into a reality. If that's true, then a parallel universe isn't just a theory. It's right here, stitched into the very fabric of space. But we're not there yet. So far, no definitive proof has been found. No neutron has shouted, "Hey, I went to the other side," close quote, and come back with photos. But each experiment brings us one step closer. Think about it. A hidden universe could be less than a fraction of an inch away from your fingertips. And yet, totally inaccessible unless we learn how to open the door. But here's the big question: what if your mind already has? Part 3. Dreams, a portal to the unknown. Now, let's take a turn inward. Every night, as we drift into sleep, our brains transport us to wild, impossible places. One moment you're late for work, the next you're flying over oceans or talking to someone who passed away years ago. These are more than just dreams, they feel real. Sometimes, too real. But what if dreams aren't just random brain noise? What if they're windows or even portals into parallel worlds? It sounds far-fetched until you realize just how little we actually know about dreaming. Science tells us that most dreams occur during REM sleep, a stage where your brain becomes nearly as active as when you're awake. Vivid images, emotions, and entire stories can unfold in just a few minutes of real time. Classic theories have tried to explain dreams. Sigmund Freud believed they were the key to our unconscious desires. Others, like the activation synthesis model from the 1970s, argue that dreams are just our brain's way of interpreting random electrical signals. But neither explanation fully accounts for the depth, emotion, and at times, hyperrealism of our dreams. Enter a radical idea: biocentrism. Proposed by scientist Robert Lanza, biocentrism flips our understanding of reality. It says that the universe doesn't create consciousness, consciousness creates the universe. In other words, you are the center of reality. Everything you see, touch, hear, or dream exists because you experience it. According to Lanza, dreams aren't separate from reality. They are reality, just a different kind. When you dream, you're not escaping the world. You're shifting into another model of reality, one constructed by your consciousness alone. Think of it like tuning into a different radio frequency. The waking world is a station we all hear. But when you sleep, your brain flips to a solo channel, one only you can access. And here's where it gets interesting. If the multiverse is real, if countless universes exist side by side, then dreaming could be our subconscious navigating those infinite landscapes. A version of you that took a different path. A world where gravity works sideways. A universe with no wall. Or one where you're someone entirely different. So maybe you don't need a particle accelerator or a neutron beam to reach a parallel world. Maybe you just need to close your eyes. Part 4. What would a parallel universe be like? So let's say it happens. You step through the invisible veil, whether by science, accident, or even in a dream, and suddenly you're in a parallel universe. But what do you see? At first glance, everything might seem familiar. The sky is still blue, gravity still pulls you down, and your name is still your name. But look closer. The small details begin to whisper that something is off. Your favorite coffee shop is gone, replaced by a store you've never heard of. The street names are in the wrong order. You pull out your phone and realize the year is still 2025, but the president isn't who you remember. You walk into your apartment, your key still works, but the photos on the wall show you with people you don't recognize. There's a dog at your feet wagging its tail. You've never owned a dog. Welcome to the uncanny valley of the multiverse. In some theories, parallel universes are like nearby branches on a cosmic tree, very similar to our own, but split by a single choice or quantum event. Maybe you turned left instead of right. Maybe you never moved to that new city. Maybe you never met the person who changed your life. In others, alternate universes might have completely different laws of physics. Imagine a world where water flows uphill, where time runs backward, where the speed of light is slower than the speed of sound, where humans evolved with 4 arms or didn't evolve at all. Think bigger. What if dinosaurs never went extinct? What if the Cold War ended in nuclear disaster? What if Earth had rings like Saturn or 2 suns in the sky? What if humanity never existed? Each parallel universe could be a sandbox of reality, testing different outcomes, different histories, different rules. And if there really are infinite versions of the universe, everything that can happen does happen somewhere. But here's the twist. If you enter one of these worlds, could you ever leave? Even worse, would you even want to? After all, if this new universe feels more like home than the one you left behind, who's to say it isn't where you were meant to be all along? Part 5. The psychological toll. Now imagine living in that parallel universe, not just visiting. At first, it might feel like an exciting adventure, a second chance, a better version of life. But over time, something unsettling creeps in. You start to notice the cracks. A familiar voice that doesn't quite sound right. A friend who remembers a conversation you never had. A mirror that reflects someone who looks like you but isn't. That's when it hits you. You're not home. You're you, but not the version that belongs here. This is called existential dissonance, the feeling that your identity is out of sync with your surroundings. And in a parallel universe, it could become overwhelming. Would you lose yourself trying to fit in? Or cling to memories that no longer exist in this world? The psychological weight of living as a stranger in a familiar place could break even the strongest mind. Because in the end, what makes a universe feel real isn't the science, it's the story you know. And here, your story is missing. Part 6. Could it be real? So is any of this actually real? Could parallel universes truly exist, not just in theory, but in practice? Science hasn't confirmed it, but the evidence is stacking in curious ways. Quantum physics tells us that particles can exist in multiple states at once. This principle, known as superposition, has led many to believe in the many worlds interpretation, the idea that every quantum decision branches reality into new timelines. In one universe, you hit play on this video. In another, you didn't and maybe never even heard of us. Meanwhile, dark matter, the invisible force making up 85% of the universe's mass, could be leaking in from another realm. We can't see it, touch it, or explain it, but we know it's there. And then there's consciousness. Some theories, like biocentrism, argue that reality doesn't exist until we observe it. That means the world, even the universe, might be shaped not by physics, but by awareness. If that's true, then maybe parallel universes aren't out there at all. Maybe they're within us, accessible not through machines, but through dreams, intuition, or moments we can't explain. So when you feel out of place, when time seems to glitch, when you wake up from a dream that feels more real than reality, maybe you already touched another world, even if just for a second. Part 7. What if you never returned? So let's ask the most haunting question of all. What if you entered a parallel universe and never came back? Would anyone notice you were gone? Or would a version of you, one that looks, sounds, and thinks just slightly differently, quietly slip into your place? Maybe you'd blend in, living a life that was almost yours. Maybe it would feel better, or worse, or just different, but deep down, you'd know. A photo out of place, a memory no one else recalls, a street corner that used to face north but now faces west, tiny details that whisper, you don't belong here. And here's the twist. What if this already isn't your original universe? What if without knowing you've already crossed over once, twice, maybe 100 times before? In a multiverse of endless possibilities, maybe it's not about how you got here, maybe it's about what you do now that you are. So look around. Are you sure this is your universe? Or is it just the one you woke up in today?